Do that. Thanks, John. Well, it is 3 weeks and counting until in-person learning is expected to resume for New York City public schools.
But now the teachers union is demanding COVID testing for everyone who enters a school building. CBS 2's Jenna DeAngelis live outside Stuyvesant High School in Lower Manhattan with more. Jenna?
Yeah, Chris and Natalie, the teachers union throwing the city a curveball, threatening to strike unless the city takes those safety actions, which, as you mentioned, includes extensive COVID testing. Today, we're expected to hear from the school's chancellor at Mayor de Blasio's press conference. Weeks before New York City schools are set to reopen, UFT President Michael Mulgrew gave Mayor de Blasio and school's chancellor Richard Carranza an ultimatum. Test every student, teacher, principal, and staff member who enters a school building, or we go to court, saying he's even willing to go to jail to protect the safety of all.
This city went through hell and came back, and we are not going back to hell because of short-sighted political agendas.
And to show his determination to take on the mayor, Mulgrew held a news conference Wednesday with public officials, community activists, parents, and 3 doctors who talked about the need for testing as a baseline to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
We've seen recently that a rush without a plan, whether it's the University of North Carolina, whether it's Notre Dame, whether it's schools in Indiana that opened and closed the same day, or schools in Georgia, where school children returned to school, there were rates of disease because no one was tested before they went in, and the schools were closed that day.
The union's demand to the city: everyone gets an antibody test or COVID test 10 days before school opens.
If you open schools on September 10th, it might be one of the biggest debacles in the history of the city.
There are still very many unanswered questions about how this virus impacts young people. And so we cannot turn our schools into biological research facilities.
The mayor and school's chancellor were unmoved by the union's actions. They toured a Brooklyn school to observe its PPE and social distancing programs.
I work for the parents and the students of New York City. I work for the families, I work for the kids. My obligation is to hear their voices. They need school to be open.
A DOE spokesperson fired back, saying the union is fear-mongering, and when it sees a plan rooted in data and science, it will review it, but it believes the union just does not want to open schools. Again, we're expected to hear from the school's chancellor at a mayor's press conference at 10 o'clock this morning. We're live in Lower Manhattan. Jenna DeAngelis, CBS 2 News.